The late Satoru Iwata once said, "Video games are meant to be just one thing, fun for everyone." Today, the gaming industry is bigger than it's ever been. But does bigger mean more fun? Or have we lost something along the way? When I was growing up, games were a lot simpler. You weren't really concerned with your KD ratio. You probably weren't min-maxing your builds to cheese every boss fight. You were just playing because you were having a good time. Back then, the technology was so limited that games really had to be fun because developers didn't have anything else to fall back on. Photorealistic graphics just weren't possible, so it was hard to wow you with the visuals. Simulated physics and destruction were too demanding to be feasible, so they couldn't hook you with some Michael Bay-like spectacle. Your game had to be fun, otherwise very few would buy it. Now, as gaming has matured and hardware has gotten unimaginably more powerful, those realistic graphics and physics actually are possible. So naturally, developers started pushing their games and their engines in those directions to set themselves apart. And that's a good thing. That diversification resulted in many new genres and subgenres, and all those new games allowed us to have fun in new ways that we never had before. So what changed? Well, as I mentioned, the gaming industry is continually getting bigger by the year. There are more people of all ages playing games every day than there ever have been. There are plenty of households that actually play games together as a family. People playing games on their phones on their commute to work. The average game went from selling thousands of copies to millions, and games are more expensive to make than they were 20 to 30 years ago. We're at a stage where a game can sell 3 million units, and it can still be deemed a financial failure. So yeah, a lot has changed. With all those potential customers, the question becomes, how do we reach those customers? How can we get more people to buy our games? And the answer is, obviously, marketing. Now, modern marketing is a very useful and powerful tool. You see, back in the day, you'd do an interview for some niche gaming magazine and maybe a few thousand people would read it. Today, you can throw a trailer on YouTube and gain the interest of millions of gamers in a matter of hours. And that's great. More interest means more sales means more games, and more games means more fun. Or does it? You see, publishers understood that good trailers could drastically improve sales, so then they tried to figure out what they needed to show in trailers to maximize the benefits. And then it clicked. Graphics and spectacles sell games. It's difficult to show someone how fun your game is, because not only is fun entirely subjective, it's also something you feel. Imagine you're playing a racing game. You're on the last lap. You take the inside line through the last hairpin turn, and you pull onto the final straight. You're hitting speeds in excess of 200 miles an hour. You're mere seconds from the finish line. You're redlining. You can't go any faster. You hear the thunderous roar of another V8 pulling up right next to you. You might not be able to see them, but you can hear them. You can feel them. That thing you feel, that rush, that thrill, you can't market it. You can't market fun. But when you show graphics that are better than anything that's come before, that's something people will instantly understand. When you show huge explosions and these big, elaborate set pieces that make you feel like you're in the middle of a blockbuster film, again, that's something that's immediately understandable. You can sell that. And sell it they did, and it worked. Just take a look at the 20 best-selling games of the 2010s according to NPD. 16 of them are action-packed first-person shooters or open-world action adventures. If you're a publisher and you see these types of games pulling massive numbers, you're going to want a piece of that pie. So that became the trend. Development shifted to place more emphasis on slick graphics and tense action. Publishers wanted experiences that they could easily market. Now, having pretty graphics and crazy handcrafted action sequences is in no way a bad thing. Those are both great to have. I enjoy them. But I believe the impact and influence of this shift has had a negative effect on game design, at least in my opinion. It caused the industry to pivot to a new direction, one that's more focused on what's going to make the most money rather than what will make the best game. In today's landscape, gaming has become very intense and almost too serious. Battle royales and competitive games in general dominate the market. It's all about finding the latest metas before they get patched out. It's all about making everything feel as real and as immersive as possible. About finding ways to make people keep spending money to buy digital items that don't even matter. And there is a place for those experiences, but I feel like there's an imbalance here. Sometimes I just want to play a game because it's fun. I want to play a game where the simple act of playing it makes me feel better. I work a lot. I come home late, mentally exhausted. I don't always want to play a game that has me at the edge of my seat. I don't always want to feel like I'm in a movie. I just want to sit back and relax. Just play a game that doesn't ask for much, but in return makes me feel good. But I'm not having fun. At least, not as much as I should be, because those types of games are becoming increasingly hard to find, at least at the AA and the AAA level. They do still exist though. They're out there. This whole time you've been watching gameplay of Forza Horizon 4, and that's intentional. Horizon 4 is just such a good example of what I'm talking about. Every aspect of the experience is designed to remove as many obstacles as possible. Its only concern is providing you with as many ways as possible for you to have a good time. It's a breath of fresh air, one that I keep coming back to. And if you haven't played it yet, you really should. But back to my point, so we can wrap this up. So many developers are focused on chasing the latest fads and on finding that financial goldmine. Overall, the gaming industry has lost sight of what made it so special to begin with. The fun, the magic of games. And that's about all I've got to say on this, folks. That felt a bit long. Was it too long? Ah well. I hope I've made my point though. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, leave us a like and a comment. Tell us what games you enjoy. And if you like what we do here at Thunderclub, consider subscribing to the channel. I'll catch you guys next time.
In 400 yards, turn left.